On the 556th day of the war in Ukraine, the fighting was concentrated in these areas. On the Kupyansk-Liman front, clashes continue in the northern and eastern parts of the front line. Heavy battles are reported in the Novoiehorivka line. As I mentioned in the previous video, in this direction the Russian forces have engaged a large number of tanks and armored vehicles and are trying to expand their control in the areas west of the Zherebets river. Today some interesting footage comes from this area, which confirms that the intensity of the battles in this part of the front has increased a lot during the past few days. In this video, a T-72 tank of the 4th Tank Brigade of the Ukrainian army hit at the Russian positions in the areas east of Novoiehorivka. The presence of the 4th Tank Brigade and other mechanized brigade in this area indicates that the Ukrainian command has taken measures to face the Russian offensive in this direction. The activity of the 43rd Mechanized Brigade was also noticed. Even though the 43rd is a new brigade which was formed earlier this year, it is performing quite well, and so far the brigade has managed to stop several armored assaults of the Russian forces east of Novoiehorivka. As shown on this video, the Ukrainian 43rd Mechanized Brigade destroyed 2 Russian tanks, a T-90A and a T-72B tank using FPV kamikaze drones. Although the Russian forces have managed to make small advances northeast of the village by entering the grey areas, it seems that the Russian army is taking heavy losses. Another Russian tank was destroyed by Ukrainian forces a little to the east of the 2 destroyed Russian tanks. Ukrainian forces used drones to drop grenades and finish off the abandoned tank located only a few hundred meters west of the Zherebets river in the area shown on the map. Yesterday, the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine reported that at least 6 Russian tanks were destroyed on this front, while today, Ukrainian sources reported that at least 4 other tanks were destroyed and that a major Russian attack on Novoiehorivka was stopped. Northeast of Kupyansk, in the Sinkivka-Vilchana sector, Russian sources continue to expose the failures of their army and their fake news about their advances in this sector. For comparison, the red line shows the frontline according to the pro-Russian sources. Today, Russian sources published a video where Russian drones filmed close combat between Russian and Ukrainian forces in the area marked on the map. As you can see, the front line confirmed by Geolocations is a lot closer to the Russian-controlled town of Vilchana than Sinkivka. This means that either the Ukrainian counterattacks in this area have been more successful than previously reported, or it means that pro-Russian sources have simply shared fake news about their supposed advances, taking advantage of the fact that there was very little footage coming from this area. On the Zaporizhzhia front, Russian sources admit that Ukrainian forces are expanding their control in the areas between Novoiehorivka and Verbove. Russian Telegram channels reported that Ukrainian forces are expanding their foothold in the areas between the 2 towns. The Russian source Warganzo informs that now the Ukrainian forces are attacking the areas east of Novoprokopivka and are simultaneously advancing in the areas west of Verbove. This is also confirmed by on-the-ground Ukrainian sources who say that they are expanding their control along the Russian defensive line in the direction of Verbove and are currently fighting for the heights near Novoprokopivka. The situation remains unstable in the areas between Robotyne and Novoprokopivka. Ukrainian forces managed to repel several Russian counterattacks south and southwest of Robotyne and launched their own attacks towards the Russian fortifications along the forest line south of Robotyne. According to Ukrainian sources, seeing the difficult situation in Novoprokopivka, the Russian command has sent 2 more regiments of the 76th Air Assault Division in support of the 104th Air Assault Regiment, which is now operating in this area. Friends, if you like my daily updates, I kindly ask you to hit the like and subscribe buttons, as this will greatly help the channel to reach a wider audience. That's all for today's update. Thank you to my Patreon supporters and have a great day.